Hey everybody, this is Jill for today. Well, we're getting into the warmer summer season and we have a lot of picnics or outdoor things in our backyard. We like to have like a macaroni salad or a potato salad, but if it's warm outside and you've got something sitting out in the sun, aka potato salad or macaroni salad with mayonnaise, not so good. So we have to kind of do a little thing that where you can have that salad, but it's safer, much safer, because mayonnaise is bad when it gets hot and sits around. I make a pasta salad. And actually, I have to say, this is my sister's pasta salad. And we used to make it in the 90s. And it's been in my file box, but I thought today might be a nice time to pull it out. So what I have here is some rotini. Again, if you wanted to use a different pasta, you could, but this is what we always used. And I'm using the Barilla. And, when you think about how much do you cook? Now, there's two of us. And the serving size is 2 ounces. So I always say, okay, the serving size times 2 plus 1 for the pot. So I cooked 5 ounces, and that is plenty for us after you get everything in there. Now, if you were cooking for a big group, that might be a difference. But if you're cooking for yourself or a family, that's kind of how I gauge it. So here I have some rotini that I cooked until it's cooked. It's not got a lot of bite to it, and I let it cool off. And I took just a little olive oil and put it on there so it wouldn't stick. So down here I have some. I want to tell you about this. I buy those bags of mixed sweet peppers. It's got the orange and the yellow and the red usually in it, and I never can use all of them. So what I do is I take them and I take all the seeds out of them and I freeze them in little blocks in an ice cube tray. So this is what this is. It imitates pimento really, really well. And so I have some of the orange and I have some of the red, and I've chopped it up really fine. So I'm going to add some of that to my bowl here. I'm just going to move everything away. So here we go. So I'm going to add some of this in there. So we get a little different color, huh? All right. So we've got that. And then I also have some red onion here, chopped pretty fine. I'm going to add some of that in there. And again, I have some celery here that's been chopped pretty well. Let's throw that in there. Okay, get all that in there. And then I've got some tomatoes here, and they're cherry tomatoes, but they're kind of on the longer side. So what I would do is I'm just going to cut these up and put them in quarters. Now you're probably saying, well, why don't you have all that stuff cut up before you even start this video? Well, because then I can talk to you a little bit. It's a funny thing about this salad, and I'm disappointed that I couldn't find something that's so important in it, but I think I have a way to kind of get around it. There was at one point something called Johnny's Salad Elegance, JOHNNYS. There is a Johnny's seasoned salt, which is not the same thing. And I searched and searched for Johnny's Salad Elegance because it really makes the salad. So that's a disappointment to me that I couldn't find that. But we're going to kind of, wing it here. So I'm going to get these tomatoes in here, and then I'm going to chop up some olives. And I'm going to do a few olives here. Now, I did a macaroni salad with the mayonnaise not too long ago, and I had used the black olives. And I don't care for the chopped up, that you get in the can. I like to get these and just give them kind of a rough chop so you have some texture, And this really, I think, I have her recipe card, and this is really all we used to put in it. The one thing we did put in it, but the director does not like, is green onion. He doesn't go for green onion. So I did not put that in. I used the red onion instead. So that's just kind of a rough chop, and I'm going to put those in there. All right. Got everything here, so I'm going to just move this aside a little bit. So here's my salad, and I'm going to mix it up. Get my little hand towel here. It's got a lot of color. There's a lot of great things in there. And I think when I make salads like this, it's very hard to say, 2 cups of this or 1 cup of that. So I always do it looking at it, looking at the balance. And if I say there's not nearly enough olives in there, or there's not enough, a green onion or green pepper or whatever it might be, then I'll add more to kind of, get the balance that we like. So that is where I'm at right now. And I'm going to bring in, this is the salad dressing. We always used it. It was Paul Newman's Italian. Now, of course, back in the 90s, it was not quite as fancy schmancy as it is now. He now calls it the family recipe. I'm assuming that that's going to be correct. Do you date any of your stuff? You know, sometimes before you'd open up that refrigerator door and it's like a science project in there. You don't know what time you put it in there, what day, or any of those things. And sometimes you don't even know what it is. So what I do is I put things in containers, like leftovers or whatever it might be. I have some masking tape and a Sharpie pen, and I will write the day that I put it in there. So I have a pretty good, guesstimate. And it's the same thing with any kind of condiments. This could sit in your refrigerator for a year and you wouldn't know it. But now I know that I put this in the refrigerator. I opened it up on May 26th. Same thing with something like pasta. I dated it. Put it in the pantry and approximately, when you put it in there and how old it is. So anyway, I took the Paul Newman's and I shook it up really well. And then I took some of it and I just put it in a container, which gives me a little more control about how much goes in there. If I need more, I need more. The thing about this is there's a lot of herbs and spices in there. And I'm hoping that that's going to kind of help replace that Johnny's Salad Elegance. If you decide to make this salad, try to find it because it really, really does make the salad. So I put that in there and I'm going to give it a stir. And then I'm going to get some salt, pepper, and that kind of thing here. So I've got some, if I'd had fresh parsley, I would have added it, but I don't. So I'm just going to put in some, not that much, some parsley, some of that back in there. Stir that in. And then I'm going to bring in some paprika, which I think will give it a little more color, which that Johnny's Salad Elegance had a lot of paprika in it. And this just straight. Again, Penzies, I'm telling you, I don't get a dime for advertising Penzies, but they do mail order and then they have stores all over the country. And if you have a chance to find a Penzies, their spices and their herbs and all that stuff is just wicked, wicked good. All right, so now I'm going to put in some pepper. Now I'll plug something. This Intra-Life salt and pepper grinders. Oh my gosh, they're so good. All of their products are really good, and I will leave a link down below for you. They have a beautiful wine cork opener and all kinds of neat stuff. So I encourage you to kind of take a look at them. And they're a small company. So I'm actually going to add a little more paprika, not much, but just a little more. I need a little more color in there. All right. I would not recommend egg. Again, if you're going to have a barbecue or something in the backyard and this is going to sit in the heat, you really have to remember no shrimp, none of that stuff, If you're going to serve it totally inside, that would be another thing. But if this is anything that you'll ever put outside, you don't want to take that chance. So I'm going to put this in a refrigerator container and I'll let it chill for several hours and then we'll bring it out and we'll take a taste. It's a great salad, whether Johnny's is in there or not. I have a story I have to tell you. I love to tell stories when I think about them. I was chopping up this celery and all this today, and we had some great friends, Jim and Susan. And Susan has since passed away. She was a great woman. And we were over one night for dinner. I could have been Thanksgiving. I'm not quite sure. And I said, can I help? Yeah, that would be great. Why don't you chop up a cup of celery? Fine, no problem. So I chopped away and I said, here you go. And she said, well, did you measure it? And I said, no, but it's about a cup. Oh my gosh. No, it's got to be exactly 1 cup. Exactly. And every recipe that she cooked like that, it didn't matter what the ingredient that went in. If the recipe called for a half a cup of this or a cup of that, packed it in that cup and there it was. Now me, I just freestyle most of the time. It's just like, okay, it's about a half a cup. All right, enough of that. Once this is chilled off and it's ready to take a sample, I'll bring it back and we'll see how delicious it is. Look at this. This looks so good. Now, after I started the video and I shut it off because I was going to put it into the refrigerator, the director says to me, are we eating this outside today? I said, no, it's cool. Probably not. Well, why couldn't we put a hard-boiled egg in it? So there is a hard-boiled egg in here. I'm just a clarification, just transparency, as we say. Anyway, this is it. I did take one egg, hard-boiled egg, and I chopped it up and put it in there. So I'm anxious to try it. So here we go. Mm-hmm. This is really, really good. It's missing the Johnny's. It really is. I mean, this is an excellent pasta salad, but that Johnny's salad elegance just way over the top. I recommend it. I mean, I'm not saying don't make it. It's very, very good. It was very easy to see, how easy it was to put together. The other thing that would be amazing in this is little cubes of feta cheese. Excellent, excellent addition. I recommend it. I think you'll enjoy making it. And as I said, trying to put an actual recipe, how much of this, how much of that, is really hard to do. It's really subjective. So, just take a look at how I've done it in the video and maybe kind of, find a place where, so much celery or no celery or whatever it is that you might enjoy. Anyway, thanks a lot. Thanks for coming into my kitchen. It was so good to see you. Take care, and I hope you'll give me a thumbs up. I hope you'll subscribe, and I'll see you next time.